This is The Speaking Show. I'm David Newman, and you're tuned in to the #1 podcast for speakers, consultants, and experts who want to speak more profitably. My special guest is Rod Santomassimo of the Massimo Group. Welcome to The Speaking Show.
Wow, David, it's always a pleasure speaking with you, and thank you for having me.
Anyone who's involved in commercial real estate either knows your name, has already paid you money, or needs to. You are the guru of commercial real estate success. How did you come to do that? How did you come to the professional adventure that you're in today?
Well, I think like all great entrepreneurs, always recognized that I wasn't happy being an employee. And the last time I had a job was about 11 years ago. And it was back then called the Great Recession. You may recall that time period. And I was laid off. I was laid off from a corporate real estate job. And one day, David, as hokey as it sounds, about 3 weeks later, I didn't know what I was going to do. There was no activity out there from a job market standpoint. And I had a dream that I should coach people, coach them through the recession and coach them how to be better. At that time, just brokers, though we've expanded that idea. But that's how it started about 11 years ago now, almost. And just said, hey, I'm going to start coaching folks one at a time and see where it goes.
And on that first day, it was you and a business card and a website and some one-on-one clients.
It was me, my dining room table, no website, my wife giving me all the support she can, and me just figuring out what the hell am I going to do as far as marketing and coaching. And so day one was scary. Year one was just as scary, but then we had a website, we had a couple of clients, and my goal was just not to lose all our savings.
Welcome to the entrepreneurial journey right there, right? Exactly. So what would you say in those early years, what was the first pivot or what was the first aha that you said, this could be bigger than just me?
I believe it came when I first read the book, and I've read it several times now, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Sally, the pie maker, with the technician and the manager, and realizing that I had become an employee because I was a slave to my own craft. And I was, at that time, within the second year, had so many clients because I was charging so little, David. I had so many clients, I had no life. And so after reading that book, I realized I was on that, what we fear now is that transaction treadmill where I was growing nowhere. And I said, you know what? I need to figure out how to scale. And so I started to scale.
And when you say scale, who was your first hire that you're like, wow, oh my God, this is kind of scary. I'm now bringing someone new into my company?
Yeah, the first actual hire was a gentleman I was actually coaching, and asked him if he had an interest in coaching. He had been through the process for about a year. He was seeing success. He liked it. I said, look, would you mind? Would you think about it coaching with us? And I will share with you that I offered him, again, I was charging too little, and I offered him too much to coach. So mistakes we make, right? So I actually got 3 people because I knew if I just got one, that'd be a mistake. Just getting one, if they fail, then I'm nowhere. If I get 3 and 2 fail, at least I got something. So I actually retained 3 new coaches. We had no process. We had no systems. We had no Massimo University that we have today that teaches them how to do things. And I would just spend time with them and say, guys, this is what I want you to do on these various calls. So it was scary. But definitely, I think the pivot besides that scalability was I read a book called Hyper Sales Growth by Jack Daly. And David, in all the books I read, with the exception of 2, the only books I read, I try to get one sentence out of the book and say, that's it. That's going to change my trajectory. And in that book, the sentence was I think it was 10 words. If you do not have an admin, you are one. If you do not have an admin, you are one. And 10 words. So I realized I was a freaking admin. I was. So my next engagement was to line myself with a part-time admin. My model is built on independent contractors that have their own businesses that want to do what they do, really not employee-based at all. And so I retained an admin, and she actually has been with me for almost 9 years now. And different roles. And now she leads she's our director of member success. I get that right. But yeah, the admin was the pivot, David. That was the big pivot that I realized I got to stop doing the work I'm doing.
And the one-on-one coaching, when you had the 3 other coaches and they were ramping up, Were you still doing some of the one-on-one coaching, or were you stepping back from that as they were picking it up?
No, I was still doing the one-on-one coaching. I was still, but instead of having at that time 25 clients in No Life, I had 20 clients in No Life, but they would get 2 or 3 clients, and next thing you know, they get 4 or 5 clients, and I would get them all their clients. That's our model. We would get them all their clients, but I was doing all the marketing, all the sales, all the admin. My wife was doing the finance. So I was still in that entrepreneurial spasm, I think. Who calls it that? It's Gerber, the entrepreneurial spasm, that I was still trying to figure things out.
Well, let's now pivot. We're going to come back to all of this, and I also want to catch up with your current empire and what you're doing with the coaching and the membership, and you have all kinds of cool things going on. But let's talk about commercial real estate agents and commercial real estate firms. When they come to you, what are some of the symptoms and heartaches and headaches that they're wrestling with?
We've learned along the way, David, we have 3 avatars. And those avatars, number 1, Ned Newbie, just starting out. His broker said he gave him all the support. He doesn't, or she doesn't. They're lost. They're put in a desk or a cubicle. They don't know what to do. So Ned Newbie comes to us, and we actually have a new to business program called N to B that assists Ned in building his or her pipeline. Second one is Peter Plateau, mid-career seasoned veteran, doing things a long time. What happened and worked back then ain't working anymore, and they're stuck, and they don't know what to do and how to get out of their way. They're in pain. So they come to us, and we assist them in getting unstuck and growing their business. And lastly, we have Bob Topper, who's actually named after our top producing client, Bob. Bob Topper is making more money than God, right? He's got a great life, but he doesn't have a great life because he hasn't figured out, I can't stop working. He's continuing to work, but making a lot of money, but really doesn't have the life balance he wants. So there are ways we can get all these people to make more money in less time. And those are our 3 clients. Those are their pains. They just have an issue either having no time, no money, they're stuck, or they're lost. That's where they come to us.
Brilliant breakdown of the avatars. I think people listening to this, if you take one piece of homework right now from what Rod just said, go and build your buyer personas or your customer avatars. And I love the 3 levels, right? Because you say, oh, no, there's one guy. It's like, no, there's not one guy. Different people come to you for different reasons. If they see themselves in your marketing, they will buy. If they're like, oh, he's only talking to newbies, you're not going to get the Bob Toppers of the world. So, yeah, and same thing, right? If it's all Bob Topper, then all the newbies like, oh, I'm not ready for Rod yet. I shouldn't buy this now.
And that's exactly it, David. And I didn't realize at the time. Most of the stuff I never realized. So you do it, you figure it out. But also that created a member for life kind of curriculum. You're done with being new. Now you're mid-career. Now you're mid-career. Now you're Bob Topper. Now we're actually creating a master's program on top of that. But look, you got to start somewhere. For me, it was just starting with a couple of Peter Plateaus and trying to figure it out.
Now, is everyone self-pay, or do firms also hire you to work with their full teams?
Yeah, that's a great question, David. In commercial real estate, 99% of those who work in that arena are independent contractors. And their brokers really don't support them in that regard. They say, look, you're an independent contractor. If you don't get coaching, go do it on your own. So there's 2 reasons that it's actually a benefit. Number 1, we do not accept any clients who do not pay for themselves. We just don't. We've learned along the years, if you don't have skin in the game, you're not as engaged, you're not going to get as much out of it. And the worst thing they can say is that Massimo stuff didn't work. Well, you weren't invested. So we don't accept those. But most of our clients, I would say 90% of our clients are individual, independent contractor agents who just want to invest themselves and get better. They recognize they can get better.
Hey, good looking. Are you currently getting paid to speak? Would you like to ramp that up? We can help. Book a confidential speaker strategy call with our team at doitmarketing.com/call, and let's see what we might do together. The call is free, but the results may be priceless. Let's talk about the product ladder, if you will. What's the entry point? Where do they come in? Because you said something that's really, really important, which is member for life, client for life, right? They're going to come back. They love you. They're going to refer. They're going to recommend. They're going to repeat. They're going to come into program 2 and program 3 and program 4. When someone comes across your website or they see you speak or they get one of your communications, You get them on the phone. Is that the first step? Is a consultation of some kind?
Yeah, now we got to the point we have two sales guys, I guess, program consultants, and one is east of Mississippi, one's west of Mississippi, but they create a consult, and that could be for a variety of things. We were very heavy in social media. We're doing a really nice job with our automated marketing. I have a marketing team now of 4, so it's a little different than it was, back when I was on the dining room table. But yeah, everything's driven to a consult, and our sales guys are doing a great job. And by the way, our sales guys, little hint here, our sales guys had a little coach at one time named David Newman that really helped them hone their skills. And look, I'm a sales organization, and I said, hey, David, we need some help. So absolutely. So they're now doing a really nice job with conversions, getting those clients into the life cycle. Now, David, I want to tell you the life cycle. This is really important because this is some things I learned along the path I think are critical to your audience. Our first element entry is what we call our membership, and that is truly a membership of very low cost. I think it's around $49 a month. They have access to some of our tools, some of our live events, some discounts, none of our coaching content. But at first I was like, I don't want to do that. One of my coaches said, let's do that. I don't want to do that. But you know what? We have hundreds of members. So easily that's tens of thousands plus a year of me doing nothing, through membership. And then we have a new to business program, which has to be a group program, right? That's our end to be. It has to be a group program. I'm going to talk about group program and positioning in a minute. And then we have our second tier program, which is our mid-career called our accelerator program. That's a 6-month program. The new to business is a 14-week program. The accelerator mid-career is 6 months. And then on top of that, if you're really engaged, we have a very intense, comprehensive one-on-one, just in time, a lot of frequency coaching program that can last anywhere from a year to we have clients now with us 6, 7, 8 years. But here's the beauty of it. At one time, to your audience, I could honestly tell you, I was doing all one-on-one. Our entire program was based on one-on-one coaching. You can't scale very easily unless you start hiring a lot of coaches. Today, we have 29 coaches. That's a heck of a lot of management. It is. And like any great, and we're not a franchise, but any great restaurant franchise, you're going to appreciate and value the bigger you get. It's just going to happen. Let's face it, not every one of my coaches does it my way. And that drives me crazy. It does. So what's the solution? I didn't know the solution. So I know this is starting to sound like a commercial for David, but I'm going to tell you what happened. I saw David on a promotion, and I went to his website and said, wow, that group coaching thing, we're doing it all wrong. We can't figure it out. We're charging low fees. So I went to David with his high fee. And David, what's it called? The high fee?
High fee mastery. High fee mastery.
High fee mastery. So by the way, I have the book right there. I looked at it this morning. I have everything we ever did at High Fee Mastery. It's my Bible now. In fact, it's still our sales mantra was created by you. So we've created programs that are more exclusive. So yeah, there's a filtration system, qualification system for both our new to business and our accelerator. We limit it to only, I think it's 16 or 20 folks. You know what we did? We reduced the term of the program, yet we increased the price. So yeah, I hate to say that, less coaching than we used to do, more expensive. My sales guy said, Rod, it's never going to work. It will never work. In 2019, so far now, it's only the 5th month. We have sold out of every program every month so far. Absolutely have. People aren't complaining about the price. They understand the value. It's always about the value, not the price. They share the value, and they're getting value out of our programs. And so when it comes to price sensitivity, you're not showing the value. One thing that you did, David, was you really pushed me to create a curriculum that was valuable, share the value, sell the value. And although, David, I said, no way, no how, you said, Rod, you need to increase your prices. You did. And I will also tell you, since you and I work together, we've increased our prices, if I think about it, on the one-on-one coaching since I worked with you, and that was a long time ago. Well, I'll tell you this right now. When I first started out, again, this is 11 years ago, I was charging $250 a client, $250 a client. That's what I was charging per month. Yeah. Now our clients are paying around $1,250 a month. Now our program's completely different and more automated, and we have a lot more tools and a lot more expenses than we ever had, much bigger staff. But the price is never an issue anymore. Now, will I increase it next year? I might, depending on the market cycles, how things going. But I have not yet, through all this time, have I never decreased our prices. Now, we're on a good run. I get that for the last 10 years. But it's a mindset. It's a challenge that, David, you put on me to say, Rod, you can charge more. You should charge more. You should do group coaching. This is how you should do it. This is how you promote it. This is how you create it. And so we followed the playbook. We followed the David Newman playbook of high fee mastery. And David, how many years ago did we do that, you and I?
I think that was probably 3 years ago now.
Yeah, I think at least 3 years ago, if not 4. And we still today, before we create a new program, we take out the high fee mastery playbook. We review it. We look at it as a guide and say, okay, what can we do? What shouldn't we do? In fact, we're about to announce a new program, group program that will be female-based only. I won't coach it. My female coaches will coach it. It'll be a female audience. We're going to craft a different agenda, and we're using that playbook to figure out how to position that to the marketplace.
That is really interesting. What made you aware of this demand or this niche of female commercial real estate brokers would want to hang out together with other women real estate brokers?
Because they have different challenges. And let's face it, most industry, especially commercial real estate, still unfortunately today in 2019 is a middle-aged, upper middle-aged white male. That's what it is. And it's old school and it's pathetic. It just is. So the females, in fact, we just got the phone. I won't mention the company. We just talked to one of our clients is the number one broker worldwide in her organization, international organization, she. And so we reached out to our clients, asked them about the challenges they're having. We did our homework. David, you teach this, right? Reached out to your clients. What are the pains? What are the challenges? And you recognize you can craft something, but I also recognize they don't want to talk to me. No. Not that we want to be, and even though we have so many female coaches now, I think we have 4 female coaches. They all said this cannot be a male bashing session. That's not what this is. This is how to survive and position yourself in today's marketplace with the different challenges, life balance, issues, expectations, everything that David, you and I have no idea. And we can't ever have any idea what females go through in our organization. So now people are understanding this and seeing more now in the industry, but no one is coaching and creating coaching programs just for this group. So we're using the high fee mastery playbook, client input, figuring out what can we provide out in the marketplace. We're launching that, we think, in the third quarter of 2019.
Wow, really amazing. I also want to direct people to your website. We're going to link up all kinds of fun things in the show notes also, Rod. But the website is just so fantastic. It's massimo-group.com. This was a revamp the last couple of years, correct?
Yeah, we continue to revamp. I will tell you, if I'm going to coach people, then I'd be really hypocritical if I didn't get coached by others. So I've gone out, like David Newman, for example, one of my coaches. I've gone out to some of the top coaches in everything I need to do. I just spent a day with Gary Vaynerchuk a couple of months ago. It wasn't a small fee, by the way.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to hear more about that in a second.
Yeah. So, I need to invest. So I invested a couple of days with Donald Miller, who wrote the book, Building Your Story Brand, which really great book. And we met with his team, and he shows how to create a messaging system and simplification. And so through that, we created the website about 2 years ago.
Did you go through that 2-day workshop or you worked with Donald privately?
No, I went through the 2-day workshop. And then one of my former team members, he's since left us, became a certified story brand builder. And so he was able to articulate and, craft the messaging we needed on all our emails and all our websites. So that was great help as well.
Wow. Really, really cool. I want to go back into the membership, because a lot of people are afraid to do this. And you had some reluctance, but I don't want to be in the $49 a month game. So you've got the $49 program. And again, these are current prices as of now. Sign up before the price goes up, everybody.
And by the way, it is going up in a couple of months.
I know. They got to get on this here. We're not kidding. So new to business is 14 weeks. Mid-career is the 6-month accelerator. Is Bob Topper only getting the one-on-one, or is Bob coming through that ladder as well?
We have Bob's coming through that ladder. They go to the new business accelerator. These are years and years in the making. They're not going one to next and next. They're not ready. New to business folks after 14 weeks aren't ready for accelerator, and accelerators sometimes aren't really ready for one-on-one.
So you kind of cut them loose, let them implement, let them grow, then they come back.
Make sure they stay as a member. They have to stay as a member. That's critical, right? So stay with that every monthly small little coupon. Absolutely.
What a great episode. Wowza. Tell you what, if you want to ramp up your revenue as an expert who speaks professionally, you should really check out our free online training at doitmarketing.com/webinar. So this is also brilliant. I mean, everyone needs to stop, back up the car. When you're selling coaching programs, you're integrating membership always.
Always. And I believe 80% of our graduates will absolutely jump into our memberships. They don't want to lose the culture, the process, the momentum they're building. So, which is great. Look, coach came to me and said, "Rod, let's do a new business program." And I said, absolutely not. I'm not going to deal with those. They're just trying to start out. They're going to be whining. They have no money, right? Someone else came to me and said, "Hey, Rod, let's start a membership program." I said, absolutely not. I don't have time to create those. You know what? Guess what? Listen to other people, and my people know this. I'm not worried about money in this regard. If I can make a 5-to-1 return on every investment I make, you know what that means? I can fail a hell of a lot of times and still come up on top. The math just works that way. So if membership didn't work, so what? We learn. If group coaching didn't work, it does. When done correct and done the Newman way, it works. So you just got to figure out, our one-on-one coaching today is nothing like it was 10, 5, even 3 years ago. Completely different. So you just got to test things and see what works and be able to risk it.
Now, one thing that I don't see, but may be integrated into some of this, is a peer-to-peer mastermind. I get the membership, I get the training, coaching, video assets, live access to a coach, live access to Rod, one-on-one for a year. That's the CRE Elite. Is there like a peer group mastermind offer? Have you tried it? Or is this another one where you're saying, absolutely not, and a year from now, it'll be a $5 million business for you?
It might be a $5 million business, just given the numbers. But what we've done instead, David, we've started doing live sessions, which we had not done in the past. And our live sessions, and this is how we craft them, and so far they've sold out every time we've done them. And we do charge high fees, but they're all inclusive. We allow 20% of those attendees to be members. And we do special events for those members, private events during those sessions, right? And the members love that. But we also want 80% to be non-members, prospects, right? And after 2 days, of course, we have our sales guys in the back of the room. And we're finding is we can convert after 2 days of intense workshop with our members saying how great we are, being cheerleaders, and the prospects that come. This is crazy, I know, but we're converting, and these are high dollar prices, and they only know us for 2 days besides the events we do. We're converting up to 35% of the prospects on site to high-end coaching. So, that's what we do. In fact, November, we're having our biggest event ever. We're changing the entire process and presentation called CRE Ready 2020. It's just, we want to get folks ready. And so we're going to blow it out in November in Orlando. If you told me 5 years ago, Rod, you're going to spend, $150, close to $200,000 on an event, I would say, no way in hell. But again, you got to roll the dice, see what works. We lost money in our last event. I made a bad pricing decision in my last event. I did. I absolutely did. And so again, tested it. I learned. I moved forward. Just you got to figure things out.
The live event, like this is in a big hotel ballroom. It's kind of big stage. You're up there. Your coaches are up there. Who else is on the program?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we make them mostly exclusive. So there's a sense of value. We just say we always have no more than 50 seats. When we did in Dallas, Four Seasons Hotel was 75 seats. When we're doing Orlando in a resort in November, it's going to be 100 seats. And we've never had that issue of filling those up. Look, you put it in a really nice place. That's the key thing. If those know, Massimo is a superlative, although my last name is Santomassimo, which means the most holy, the great saint. And my mom believes it, and that's great. But Massimo means the best, the most, right, to be great. So we cannot, in our brand, put ourselves in a secondary hotel. We just can't. It doesn't work. And we can't charge the fees we do. It doesn't work. So this time, resort in Orlando. And yes, all the meals, dinners, and here's a real killer. If you're ever going to do this and do a 2-day event, do a nighttime event. Do a fireside chat with someone that's really good and serve alcohol. And boy, do you have people realizing this is pretty awesome. Just what it is. So David, you'd be a bourbon man, I know. You would come with the bourbon.
I'll be there at the fire pit with the bourbon and my checkbook. Like, I'm ready to sign up, buddy. Put me in. I'm ready. Total sidebar, but you mentioned it, and I'm dying of curiosity. I'm sure our listeners are too. What's the day with Gary Vee like? What did you do? What did you guys talk about? Put us on a fly on the wall for a couple minutes.
Well, that day happened to be, and this is for everyone, all your listeners, no matter what industry they're in, I want to highly suggest this. He did that in conjunction with a event the following day called Agent 2021. And that was in Miami at the Miami Dolphin Stadium. And you understand, Gary Vee is a diehard Jet fan, so that was hard for him enough. But I heard of Gary Vee through podcasts, and he's kind of different. He just is. He's an F-bomb dropper. There's no doubt about it. But I said, you know what? I have a whole team of social media folks. We're doing sales, marketing. We're doing okay, but are we doing the right thing? So for me, it wasn't really about discovery as it was much about clarity. That's what I want to get. This is clarity. So a day with Gary Vee then, I mean, this is only 4 months ago, was 10 grand. 10 grand. It was limited to 12 people. And you had people all across the world come into this event for those 12 people for a day with Gary Vee. And then the next day, you could pay $1,000 and be with hundreds of thousands of people and still hear Gary Vee and his team and many others. You all should think about that second day. Absolutely. Well worth it, no matter what industry you're in, to understand. So clarity was everything for me. And then the best thing was, David, so if we go through the team, we go through his entire team, presents how they do, what they do. By the way, you already should know, if you Google Gary Vee, V-E-E, or Gary Vaynerchuk, content model, what he gave to me for $10,000, he gives for free out there. And it's an 86 slide deck. And you should all get it. It's perfect. But it was about clarity. It was about knowing. It was about seeing how others are doing what they're doing. You know, seeing how the auto dealer across the street was creating stories, how someone else was doing something. The guy I sat next to was a fitness guru. The guy sat and very well known. The guy sat next to there was a mortgage broker. Happened to be in my market. It was phenomenal. But here's what it did. It did two things for me. It gave me the clarity. It let me know what we're doing that's right, what we're doing that's wrong, how to fix it. But more so, it gave me, say, okay, I just spent $10,000. I better return this investment. I better do what I learned. So we're excited because next week we launch our podcast, The Massimo Show. And so we got the podcast going. We got Facebook advertising, LinkedIn advertising. We got the social media galore. We got a mechanism now. And by the way, three marketing people, all doing different things, all independent contractors, no employees, from my flexibility, scalability model. So that's what Gary did for me. And by the way I learned about Gary Vee was, I'm a very frugal guy, but I finally said I'm going to buy myself something nice because of all those 10 years, my 10-year anniversary. I said I'm going to do something nice myself. So I went and I bought my exact model. I always buy something pre-owned. This is who I am. So I bought a pre-owned certified Tesla, and Gary Vee was on the podcast. So I started listening to Gary Vee. I said, this is interesting. The funny thing was, last month, I'm sitting there and I play the podcast. And we know it's me and Gary Vee having a conversation that he recorded during the day with Gary Vee.
How cool is that?
So the best part was my kids were impressed. So.
That is great. Well, I want to talk a little bit about your evolution as a leader, because this also goes back to your E-Myth story. A lot of folks listening, and this is how I was, and maybe you were like this too, when we're the technician, we're like, oh, I love the work. I love my clients. I love being in the trenches. Now we're hiring people. You've got this massive, huge team of people, the back office people, the marketing people, the coaches, and they're all 1099. I get that. But you're now a leader much more than a doer. And that's obviously a full-time job in and of itself. Don't get me wrong. How has your evolution as a leader helped you grow the business?
Someone told me, Rod, you're hiring all these coaches and you have absolutely no process that can make you invisible, right? So I realized we had to create a Massimo University. So now all our coaches have a true university to go through to get certified and what to do in every call. And it's all videotapes and documented and exercises. And I recognized the more I became absent from my organization, the worse it got. It wasn't me. So I deliberately every day did this morning after a workout, I call a coach, I call someone in marketing, every day I call someone right now the organization is 34, 35 people, maybe more in size, just to check in what's going on, We all use a Slack channel. I love Slack. We're using a Facebook channel, but not everyone's so engaged in Facebook. Always constant communication. And then this right now is on Zoom. We use Zoom for everything, all our coaching calls, all our team calls. Every 6 weeks, we all, again, totally voluntary, we all jump on a Zoom call, and I'm looking at 30-something faces, and they all generally show up, which is pretty cool. And we just talk about what's going on. So it's weird. I don't know how it happened, but I think this constant communication, David, has allowed us actually to start formulating a culture and a community. And those two things are really what's helping this company move forward. It just is. It's because I think the best thing is, whatever you do, anyone, when you engage someone, hire, make sure they're smarter than you. Make sure they're smarter than you, because they're not, why are you doing it? So, when I engaged you, David, you were much smarter than me, and you still are, on how to create these group programs, how to get speaking engagements. Next time I engage you, David, it's going to be speaking. That's what it's going to be, because I'm finding I'm doing two things. I'm moving away from the coaching. Now we have hundreds of clients across North America. I coach one and only one. And by the way, that is Bob Topper, and I have for a while. But I see I should be doing more as far as getting speaking engagements, because we're all actually broadening our reach beyond commercial real estate lately. With a new book coming out later, we'll talk about that. It's really, we're seeing there's more opportunity for us. And for that to happen, I got to get out there. So that's the key to leadership, getting yourself out there, communicating clarity, and recognizing you have to evolve or you'll become stagnant and you cannot grow.
I love that. And it seems like every 34 or 35 days, because you've got 34, 35 people, you're having a one-on-one conversation with each and every one of them. And then it recycles in other 35 days because you've gone through everybody. And that's a great way to just make everyone feel special and everyone feel that they have your personal ear should they need it.
And understand, these conversations can be 5 minutes.
Sure.
They can be 15 minutes. They're not long conversations. And then I get emails after talking saying, it's really nice of you to check in with me, Rod, which I think is ridiculous. But money is a driver, no doubt about it. Money is a driver. But if you haven't read the book Drive by Daniel Pink, you should. Money is not the key motivator to people engaging and aligning and being happy.
Absolutely. Totally right. While we're talking about the new book, what's the new book?
Well, what I found out in the entrepreneurial journey was, as we started making more money, right, my wife continued to remind me, Rod, it's not the revenue, it's what you take home. Right? And so I was like, but we're making all this money, but we're not, wait, what's going on? I believe you should always invest in your company. So I don't worry about it. It will come back in the future. But you all should have a long-term view. If you don't, it's not going to work. So I'm always investing in the company. But what I found out was I wasn't being deliberate and purposeful about how I was positioning the company from a tax basis, right? And so I needed a tax coach of all things, right? So I went out and I found a tax strategist. Yeah, he's an accountant, but that's not what he does. A tax strategist to say, okay, how do I start saving more money, keeping more of this money that we're earning? And so through working with this tax strategist, we started doing things I never realized that could be done from a single entrepreneurial basis, whether it be creating holding companies and some organizations. And look, right now, the Massimo Group is a coaching company. We have a marketing company. We have a technology company. We have an IP company. We're about to launch a digital company, by the way. But the way you use and allocate resources and revenue, and then, if you get to the point you start making a lot of money and getting defined benefit plans and what's going on, the tax laws are absolutely amazing. And they may change in 2020 if the administration changes. They certainly can, and you have to play for that. But then I have to realize, wow, not only should we be building a business, and everyone focuses on building a business, but no one talks about, okay, you're still getting hammered in taxes. So how do you minimize your tax liability? So the next book is what I did is I reached out to my tax strategist and said, look, there's a book here of building the business, but also creating wealth. So the new book, as of today, it may change. As of today, it's going to be called Independent Work, Independent Wealth. Independent Work, Independent Wealth. So the strategies of how to build a business, as my experience of the last 10 years, as well as aligning with this tax strategist, the strategies, the tactics, the approaches of how to structure your business so you minimize, legally, of course, completely legal,
sure,
your tax liabilities. So I'm not boasting. I said, and my wife runs all our finances, and it's a great thing when you have someone that You focus on making the money and someone else focuses on making sure you actually have money.
Right.
So when she tells me how to be saved in the last year, then your action is that cannot be right. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
That's amazing. No, I've heard of some of these things. I'm a total newbie at this, but I'm starting to look at this as well, of course. So like for example, you have the IP company. The IP company leases the IP back to the coaching company, and then that cash flow is beneficial to your tax profile overall.
Right. Some are S corps, some are C corps. It's how you structure the whole thing based on different tax structures.
Right. Once you're past a certain amount, this is like maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxes that we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Or more.
Be careful. Anyone can do this. You could be making $50,000 or $100,000 a year. The impact will be less marginally, right? But anyone can structure their company from minimizing your tax. And that's what people don't recognize. You don't have to be a 30-person organization making multi-million dollars now to say, you know what, you gotta change it. No. I should have done this when I was making $10,000 or $20,000 that first year, whatever it was, right? I should have done it then. So you just learn.
Yeah, totally amazing. Well, Rod, when's the book coming out? Because I need a copy ASAP.
Well, you get one of the first copies. And look, I'll be straight out. I use ghostwriters for all my books.
Sure.
My first 2 books I learned use ghostwriters. It worked. Again, I'm getting a landscape here. I hope it doesn't catch up on your audio. So I use a ghostwriter, but I also significantly participate in the crafting and writing of the book because it has to be my voice. So I'm told, I just told him this morning, he's saying, and my goal is fourth quarter 2019, because I know things are going to change in 2020 if our administration changes, whether we like it or not, right? But the fact is, this administration with deregulation, forget personalities, is the best small business environment we have ever been in our history. This is the time being a small business entrepreneur is today. If you can't leverage what's going on from a regulation, deregulation standpoint, policy-wise, forget personalities, this is the best it has been.
Right.
So it's an opportunity.
Fantastic. Well, let us talk about how people can get connected and stay connected to the Massimo Group empire. We'll link these up in the show notes. So you guys pop over to thespeakingshow.com, and right under Rod's episode, we're going to have some links and some things for you. What can we share with people?
David, you shared already the Massimo Group, MASSIMO-group.com is the number one place to reach out to us. We're certainly on Facebook under the Massimo Group, Twitter under the Massimo Group, LinkedIn under CRE Coach. So we're there. And soon the Massimo Show will be on iTunes. Actually, probably the next 2 weeks, be on iTunes. We're really excited about that. And David, we need to have you as a guest.
Yes. So we're do a little podcast swap. That would be fantastic. I love it. Count me in. Count me in for everything. Well, Rod, thank you. This has been so fantastic. Always a pleasure. Don't be a stranger. We should keep these conversations going when the microphones are turned off. And thanks for being on with us today.
Okay, David, you're the best. Thank you for everything you do for me.
Well, that wraps up another episode of The Speaking Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on iTunes. Subscribe. Tell a friend. Go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thespeakingshow.com. See you next time.